So throughout all of 2022, there was one iPhone that I honestly thought was fairly underrated. In fact, I think this is probably one of the most underrated iPhones of all time, which is the iPhone 8 Plus. And I want to kind of answer the question, is the iPhone 8 Plus a bad iPhone this year, or was it a bad iPhone throughout all of 2022? And I'll definitely tell you, as long as you have an iPhone that's still supported with software, it's not a completely bad iPhone. It's not an iPhone that, is not worth it anymore. It's still very much worth it in my opinion. So has tons of features going within it. And I think from that standpoint, those are some really important things to keep in mind. As long as the iPhone is still supported, you are pretty much good to go. Now, is the iPhone 8 Plus still worth paying as much money as, as you can for it? Probably not. I think there's definitely better iPhones out there that can probably give you a little bit of a better deal. But let's kind of look at the, the actual phone itself. I mean, the body of this thing still feels very premium. I don't think this iPhone feels cheap. I think no iPhone really has felt cheap for their time except the iPhone 5C. But this thing still is a very premium feeling device. And when I hold this thing up against like an iPhone 14, there are definitely some more advantages for the iPhone 14, but the iPhone 8 Plus still holds up very, very well in that body standpoint. Now, on top of that, you have things like the iPhone 8 Plus's IPS panel that's 1080p, not a low resolution panel either. Although it's not an OLED display, it is still a very good looking display for the most part, and I don't really find too many people complaining about the display from that aspect. On top of that, with the iPhone 8 Plus, you are getting still, a dual camera setup that's not that bad, and you're getting that glass bag like I mentioned before. All in all, the body of this thing still feels very premium. Now on top of that, you're getting that fingerprint sensor, which some people may prefer, or Face ID in some cases. And booting this thing up, you are still on iOS 16, which I think is very, very cool. This thing is going to be getting iOS 16.2, all the iOS 16 features, and honestly, it may even end up getting iOS 17 as well. So from that standpoint, this phone may end up lasting another year or so. It still feels very premium. It's not a cheap feeling phone by any means. What are some of the bad things? Well, the biggest disadvantage is I don't know how much longer this phone is going to last. That's probably going to be one of the bigger disadvantages of getting a phone like this. But on top of that, another somewhat disadvantage is with the iPhones that are kind of a little bit newer. If you get an iPhone XS or an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro, those iPhones are massive differences from this device. So even though this device isn't like a cheap feeling or bad feeling phone, because of the somewhat outdated body, because of the, amount of bezels and all that, you will probably be in a better situation if you were to go and purchase a phone like an iPhone 11 or an iPhone 11 Pro or an iPhone XS for that matter, and you'll be in a better spot in that standpoint than if you were to go ahead and stick with an iPhone 8 Plus. So the 8 Plus is not a bad phone in 2022 or whatever, but there's definitely better phones out there for the money that may end up being better values in my opinion. So that kind of answers that question. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.